Up, ground floor has collapsed. Strong part of any building are the pillars of any house, giving us a complete picture as to how dangerous is this situation in Joshimath.
सरकार उचित हमको मुआवजा दे, तो इसीलिए हमारा ये धरना पर।
मुआवजा आपको बताया जा रहा है, क्या वो काफी नहीं है?
नहीं, अभी हमको तो कुछ नहीं बताया, हमें पता ही नहीं कि कितना, उसको आउट ही नहीं कर रहे हैं कि हम भाई इतना देंगे, इसलिए हम विरोध कर रहे हैं और तोड़ने भी आएंगे, हम इसे टूटे में आएंगे।
Joshimath sinks, tempers soar. Local residents up in protest over the Uttarakhand government's handling of the situation.
सरकार से हमारा जो भी मांगे हैं सरकार मान ही नहीं रहे हैं हमारा मांग। हम यही गुजारिश करना चाहते हैं, हाथ जोड़ के विनती करते हैं हमारी सरकार हमारी मांगे को पूरी करे। और हम खुद बेघर हो गए हैं, पूरे जोशीमठ का अस्तित्व खत्म होने वाला है।
The hotel which is supposed to be raised down due to the risk waiver, and why this is, look at these gaps, these cracks from mainland to the hotel stage, these stairs, and this is widening every day. And despite being threat zone, the people have decided to sit here on protest. There's a meeting being called by the administration. This is to resolve. Now the demand from the hotel owners and these locals, replace us, relocate us to the safer places, ensure proper compensation.
The administration held talks with protesters seeking greater compensation than the interim assistance of 1.5 lakh rupees for each displaced family. Authorities, however, are playing this down, insisting it was noticed in just a small part of Joshimath.
एन उत्तराखंड कोई बड़ी घटना नहीं हो रही है और विद इन जोशीमठ भी केवल 20% हिस्सा प्रभावित हुआ है, बाकी 80% हिस्सा यहाँ सुरक्षित है। अगर पूरे जोशीमठ खतरे में होगा तो हम कैसे रह सकते हैं? तो इसलिए ये एग्जैजरेशन है।
Weather has compounded fears here. Battling freezing cold, residents of Joshimath are bracing for rains forecast in the region over the next 3 days.
प्रकृति को आप ये भी समझिए, अगर वो दंश दे रही है तो उसके बाद दवा भी है, और उसकी समझ इस रूप में है कि फिलहाल कुछ समय आप प्रकृति से छेड़छाड़ बंद करें, इसके चारों तरफ की गतिविधियों को रोकें। निश्चित रूप से मेरा मानना है कि प्रकृति एक अच्छा व्यवहार करेगी।
According to official sources, fissures have widened in at least 24 buildings of the town. Authorities plan to raze to the ground high-risk structures with light equipment, mostly manual, in order not to create tremors from the demolition. Many locals sounded least satisfied with the relocation efforts.
तोड़ने के लिए तैयार है, मनाने के लिए, तोड़ने के लिए तैयार है, पर उचित मुआवजा दे दे, बद्रीनाथ के तर्ज में विस्थापित कर दें और इसी के लंबे बैठे हैं धरने।
जब जनता तब नेता, जनता मर जाएगा तो नेता कहाँ से बचेगा?
A grave crisis in the Himalayas, reminding policymakers of what they should have done but didn't do to protect the fragile mountains. With Ashutosh Mishra, Amit Bhardwaj and Ankit Sharma in Joshimath, Uttarakhand, Bureau Report, India Today.
While there are major cracks on buildings in the temple town of Joshimath, there are several other new sites where cracks are being seen in the areas of Pauri, Bageshwar, Uttarkashi, Tehri, Garhwal, Rudraprayag. There are small towns and centers where there are now cracks which are visible. Locals in these districts fear that their situation too could end up like Joshimath.
Even as pilgrim town of Joshimath in Uttarakhand sinks, the same fate could befall other locations across the state as well. Other than Joshimath, towns like Pauri, Rudraprayag, Uttarkashi and Tehri are also at risk. Land subsidence, a silent disaster, is taking hold of the Himalayan region. Houses in Pauri have also started to develop cracks, just as it's happening in Joshimath.
डर लगता है जब हिलती नहीं खिड़कियां ऐसी करती है खड़खड़ खड़खड़। इस कमरे में हम सोते नहीं, हमें डर लगता है कि कहीं ये ना हो ये फट जाए।
Residents in Uttarkashi are on their toes fearing the same fate as the sinking Joshimath.
थोड़ा करिए ना, मेरे किसी ने सुनाई नहीं किया, मैं क्या करूँ मैं। आंधी में तो सब आए ना, तो उसका भी फोटो ले जा रखे, पानी देख रहे हैं उनका।
Locals are in panic due to the cracks in houses and the water that is flowing under their homes.
कुछ दिन में ही हमारे साथ ये होने वाला है। ऐसे लोगों को लग रहा है, ऐसे भयभीत जो महिलाएं हैं ज्यादा भयभीत है यहाँ पे।
Experts have been ringing alarm bells over land subsidence for years. And now is the time to act to prevent any further damage. Bureau Report, India Today.
The situation in and around Joshimath at this moment highly precarious. No one quite knows what happens next or when. It could just stay the way things are with these cracks. They can just go on for years without any further development, or these houses could crumble. There could potentially be an earthquake, some kind of an eruption. You've got 600 plus families out literally in the cold. The government wants to demolish the unsafe buildings. Locals asking for compensation. What should happen next? Given all the unknowns that are at play, how do you deal with this kind of a situation best? Joining us on this broadcast is Piyush Rautela, Executive Director of the Uttarakhand State Disaster Management Authority. We've got representing the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party, Dr. Devendra Bhasin, spokesperson of the BJP. We've got Manish Khanduri, spokesperson of the Uttarakhand Congress. We've got Naveen Bhatnagar, former DIG of the NDRF, the National Disaster Response Force. So welcome to all our guests. I want to go across to Piyush Rautela first. Given that we don't quite know what happens next and when, and given the fact that the government wants to bring these houses down, locals desperately urging for compensation, what do you think should happen next? You've got 600 plus families that are now away from their homes. There is no immediate solution for them. You could build them new houses. Who will build them? How long will it take? How much will it cost? Who will pay? All those are questions which are currently flowing down the river with no answer.
No, at present, as you said, there is no possibility of any earthquake or any eruption. Houses are certainly getting affected due to ground subsidence, and government is taking all measures for the rehabilitation and welfare of the affected families. We have already identified places, and the reference has been made to Geological Survey of India for ensuring stability of those places which have been affected, which have been selected for rehabilitation. Designs are being prepared for prefabricated houses where the people could be resettled. Together with this, the houses which have become precarious and they pose threat to nearby houses are to be dismantled. They have to be brought down. Negotiations are being undertaken with the people. People are being taken into confidence. After all, government is taking all measures necessary for their welfare, rehabilitation, and other kind of things.
No, so about these houses, you know, many who are watching would wonder, can they be fixed right somehow? Can something be done to pepper over these cracks, fill them up, or do you think now structurally they've become unsafe?
Basically, if you think Joshimath is a big town, a portion of Joshimath has been affected recently as the water is, say, some groundwater is getting released and the area upstream of that is getting subsided. Subsidence is being observed in that localized area, and houses in this, many houses in that area have become unfit for human habitation. They have to be brought down. Other houses which are, say, in other areas, they can well be retrofitted. They can be, their strength could be improved. They could be made habitable in due course of time. Central Building Research Institute is undertaking door-to-door survey, assessing the structural stability of the structures and suggesting the government likewise. So whatever the suggestions of the experts are there, that will be acted upon.
So we're now getting reports from different parts of Uttarakhand, not just Joshimath, other places as well, that the same cracks are being seen there. Others say, ये तो हमेशा ही होता है, पहाड़ों में तो crack पड़ता रहता है. Is there something larger at play and the older cracks are just being discovered or rediscovered, or are these cracks actually at this moment developing in other places outside Joshimath?
If you see a larger picture, most habitations in hilly areas, hilly terrain, are over old stabilized landslides, be it Joshimath, be it any other place. The people, all agricultural land in the state or hilly terrain, except for alluvial terraces, all the other terraces are, say, constructed over old landslide material. So people, but traditionally people did not, say, settle down over the area where they did agriculture. They settled down at a higher place over farm ground and carried out agriculture over these stabilized landslides. These landslide zones are not fit for taking that much load, and moreover, at most places, including Joshimath, Nainital or others, except for Nainital, most places don't have, say, proper drainage arrangements for draining out rainwater as also household wastewater. So this water keeps percolating underground, and when it seeps out, it leaches away finer, say, silt, clay is leached out, and voids are created in underground, and the ground starts to subside, which is, say, exhibited in the form of, say, cracks and other fractures, fissures on the ground
Sundrial
or on
is
structures.
The head of the Department of Geology at the Garhwal University, and I want to ask you, Dr. Sundrial, about what happens next. Now, the land has subsided, by which people understand that it's kind of gone in and therefore there are cracks. Is this the way it stays and now this is the situation you have to deal with, or could something happen geologically in terms of some kind of an eruption? We're told that the aquifer there has burst as well, so there's now water which is no longer in the kind of soil that it earlier was contained in. Does something happen next? Do these cracks stay? Could it get much worse? Is there any timeline that you're looking at? Is it at all possible to know the answers to these questions?
Okay. Actually, first of all, I would like to tell you that we have the crystalline rock in the region of Joshimath, and we don't have aquifer there. But water can enter in a fracture and cracks if the rocks have. And this is, I am not able to understand that how aquifer can puncture without any disturbance. If you are talking about that water which is coming from the Marwari side of the Joshimath, that is a lower portion of the Joshimath. So it may be possible that some spring water went subsurface and then that is eroding the material like that. And some people connecting it that this may be the water which penetrated during that 2021 disaster, and that water penetrated by the tunnel, and now that water is coming out. So this is a big debate, and it would be not, we can not ignore any possibility right now. But we all are aware that this Himalaya is actually very weak geological setup and the geographical setup. And all the townships, small townships in the entire area of the Uttarakhand, I'm talking only about the Uttarakhand right now, we have small township located on the slopes of the hills, and these slopes contains the loose material, and it has its bearing capacity. And when
No,
the
sure, I
bearing
understand
capacity
that.
will be over,
My question, Dr. Sundaryal, is this: if indeed some kind of an underground water source has burst, and that is what has caused this soil to become loose, and that's why these houses are developing cracks, and because Joshimath is built on a landslide material, does it stay this way, or geologically do you expect anything else to happen? What I'm asking essentially is, could there be more earthquakes? Could there be a landslide? Does it have nothing to do with the probability of an earthquake? Does it increase the probability potentially of a landslide, for example?
actually, we cannot predict the earthquake, when the earthquake will come.
Okay.
But this yes, please, I am giving answer of your question. Earthquake is a process which is continuously generating 1 magnitude, 2 magnitude, 2.5 magnitude earthquake, and this process is going on. But we feel earthquake when the magnitude is higher, say 3.5 or 4 or 4.5 or 5, like this. So seismically, this entire area, Joshimath, is sitting on, geologically speaking, on a thrust sheet. It's bounded by two major thrusts. One is called Vakrita and another called Munsiari. In between these two geological weak zones, Joshimath is located. Moreover, you are aware that Joshimath is located on a paleo landslide. And this is now well-known fact, and Hammond Ganser told this in 1939. And the crack develops in the building of the Joshimath is also not new. It was developed during the 1970. And after that, 1976, Misra Commission submitted their report, what to do and what not to do.
Okay, so you're saying it's possible that there are cracks and nothing happens post, so this is just the cracks that stay. Swami Brahmachari Mukundanand is in charge of the Joshimath temple. He is the representative of the Jyotirmath Shankaracharya. Swami Mukundanand, स्वागत है आपका. सबसे पहले ये बताएं कि आपके विचार में जो भाजपा की सरकार है उत्तराखंड की, उसको क्या करना चाहिए? टेंपल की नज़र से, वहाँ पे जो लोग प्रभावित हुए हैं उनकी नज़र से, वहाँ बारिश पड़ रही है, बर्फ़ पड़ने की आशंका है, इस वक्त सबसे ज़रूरी आपकी नज़र में क्या है?
धन्यवाद आपको, आपने हमको जोड़ा है. इस वक्त जो सबसे आवश्यक चीज़ है जो हम लोग देख पा रहे हैं यहाँ पे रह करके, कि भगवान ने एक तरह से हमको समय दिया है. उन्होंने जैसे टाइम बॉम्ब फटने के पहले टिक 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 करता है, वो स्थिति पिछले लगभग 12 महीने से पहले शुरुआत हो गई. 3 महीने से लगातार उसकी गति और बढ़ गई, 1 महीने से और बढ़ गई. और ये जो समय है, ये बहुत महत्वपूर्ण समय है. तत्काल स्थानांतरित करके पुनर्वास यदि नहीं किया गया तो ये बहुत बड़ी त्रासदी आ जाएगी. त्रासदी के मुहाने पे, या यूँ कहें कि बम के ऊपर इस समय जोशीमठ पूरा बसा हुआ है, बैठा हुआ है. तो सरकारें बहुत प्रयास करके लोगों को अपने स्थान से जो पुनर्वास केंद्र उन्होंने बनाए हैं वहाँ पर फिलहाल लेके जा रही हैं, और उसमें और तेजी गति करने की जरूरत है. माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी निश्चित रूप से तेजी कर रहे हैं. आज भी वो आए हैं यहाँ पे, दौरा कर रहे हैं, और करके प्रभावित लोगों को जल्दी से अधिक जो मूल स्थान है, जो प्रभावित घर हैं, उन घरों से पुनर्वास केंद्र पर ले जाया जा रहा है. लेकिन अभी तक की जो स्थिति है, पूरी तरह से सभी लोग नहीं हटाए गए हैं. सभी लोग अभी, कुछ लोग अभी भी अपने अपने मकान में हैं जो जर्जर अवस्था में है.
ओके, डॉक्टर देवेंद्र भसीन, what is the BJP government's larger plan? One is the immediate situation. You've moved people out of homes that seemed unstable. What do you intend to do next? They're asking for one-time compensation, they're asking for new land, they're asking for the government to build new houses. As the Swami says, this is a ticking time bomb.
Our state government, with the active support of central government, is working on war footing. We have twofold targets before us: immediate relief and action plan for the future. As far as the immediate relief is concerned, we have identified more than 500 shelters for the evacuation of people who are residing in danger zone, and 131 families have been shifted from there. Today, government declared interim relief. This is interim relief, 1.5 lakhs. 50,000 for the cartage of luggage to one place to the other place, and 1 lakh for the building. But it is interim, and on 13th of this month, Chief Minister has called his cabinet meeting just to increase the relief of the people. On the other hand, we have to demolish those houses or those buildings who are dangerous, but after the consent of the owners of the buildings. Because today there was a plan to demolish 2 hotels, but there was some objection regarding some compensation, so we did not move. And other buildings will not be touched before the consent of the people. Our Chief Minister has reached today Joshimath, and he will discuss with the victims, other stakeholders, and as well as officers. Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji is in regular touch, and PMO is monitoring all the activities or work being done in Joshimath.
Okay. So Manish Kanduri, the BJP says this is literally an act of God. The state government not to blame. Everything that can be done is being done to provide succor to the affected families. We have a short-term and long-term plan in place. Do not play politics. Don't try and blame the government. This is an act of God.
Well, I don't know if Dr. Vaseem said all of that, but I'll start with a metaphor. I'll start with an image. I'm in Joshimath at the moment. And when you enter town, the 2 hotels that I think Dr. Vaseem spoke of, they're there just as you enter the town of Joshimath. And they are literally leaning into each other, right? So it's just grim irony that 2 parties which don't agree are in one form or the other, because one of the hotels belongs to a Congress supporter and the other hotel belongs to a BJP supporter. So I think it's and if you talk to them, not only have their buildings met, but their opinions are exactly the same. First of all, and this is the view of the people of Joshimath. First of all, I think if you take the speed of response, Swamiji had spoken about the fact that this has not been happening today or yesterday or 10 days ago or even 10 months ago. So this has been building up. So I think where one would like to have seen a better response would have been a faster response, more proactive response over the longer term, or the short, medium term. I'd also like to remind you that we were having a similar conversation with the media in February of, I think, 2021, when a disaster happened in Rain, just 30 or 40 kilometers upstream. And it's that same water which apparently is showing up in Joshimath today. So there has been a lack of proactive planning, one. Secondly, in terms of the shorter-term response immediately after, I think we would have expected the Honorable Chief Minister to have been a little more proactive. I believe I saw his helicopter just flying over it today, so I think he's in town. But our opinion is that he should have literally been camped here, because this Joshimath is not only the font of Hindu culture, but it's also a critical highway gateway to 3 or 4 important places, only the Valley of Flowers. It's culturally and historically important. So I think we could have done with a much faster, more proactive speed of response, and I think what it shows is a lack of imagination.
Respond to that charge from the Congress. Lack of imagination, slow response. The state government should have been far more proactive.
In fact, if we go by politics, Congress would be blamed for the entire situation. Because the first report which came was in 1976. And at that time, Congress was in power. The second report came in 2003. Congress was there. Third report came in 2006, Congress was there, and after Kedarnath disaster, Honorable Supreme Court issued certain direction. Congress was in power, but nowhere Congress took any action, and the result is before us. So politically, we are not interested in politics. Our Chief Minister appealed to all to come and support the issue, because it is a humanitarian issue, it's a very serious issue. But Congress, because it's a divided house, its leaders are fighting amongst themselves. Someone goes in one direction, other goes in different direction.
Respond to that charge that most of these constructions in the past 5 decades have actually happened in the watch of Congress governments. There have been reports while your governments were in place with very specific suggestions on what should be done, none of which was acted on, and therefore don't sermonize the BJP government in Uttarakhand. Hold the mirror to your face.
I think what the good doctor is saying, let's talk of specifics and let's talk of over the longer term. right? First of all, he has very adeptly and very deftly taken away the argument into politics. We are speaking of the speed of the response and help given to people right now. So let's focus there. And if you're not going to focus there, and if he's going to take the argument into politics, obviously, when we raise the voice of people, it's politics. But when they do something, it's, well, statesmanship, I suppose, by Mr. Modi. Now, let's come to his specific incidents. It is the Congress party that actually stopped a large-scale project from happening on the recommendations of somebody in the scientific and academic world in Tiri. A 600-megawatt project was stopped. Has the BJP done anything like that, if you want to talk politics? It was under Dr. Jairam Ramesh, who was the environment minister, who, to the best extent possible, has instituted this policy. I do not say, listen, what has happened in Uttarakhand is very long term, and the tragedy is in 1936 they issued a report, in 1976 they issued a report, and Rahul, you may be speaking again in a year or so in the same way, in the same fashion, because the speed of development that has happened is the consequence of unchecked development from all sides. The need of the hour, first of all, is to focus on how do you help the people right now. One, and that is where we say the BJP is lacking. Two, what is your long-term vision and long-term plan? And there are lots of comments and stories there as well. But I don't see a proactive response here, and that's what we're trying to deal with.
Devendra Bhasin, respond to the charge that there is actually more construction and development taking place on your watch. For example, under the Congress regime, a lot of border infrastructure wasn't developed because they thought it's just very difficult to try and build roads in those areas. It's also an ecologically sensitive zone. Your government is actually expediting it, and therefore, forget the sins of the past. On your watch, the sins have been exacerbated.
Precisely.
Basically, the illegal construction in Joshimath area was in major part during the Congress period, because before this Uttarakhand came into existence, so year 2000, Congress was there or Samajwadi Party was there, Central Congress was there. And after the creation of Uttarakhand, for 10 years, Congress was there. And incidentally and interestingly, 3 reports came during that period when Congress was in power, and 1 report came in when Congress was in power in center. So they did nothing. And even today, what I feel to say, that Congress during their period did not stop a single illegal construction. And even they ignored the directions of the Honorable Supreme Court in the year 2013 very recently. So how can they say that we are responsible? We are working, we are on front foot. But your people, your leaders, including state president and former chief minister, they are playing politics. Simply, they go and submit their submission there. But creatively, they are not supporting any issue which are required in Uttarakhand as on date.
Now, Naveen Bhatnagar, as a disaster response expert, what do you think ought to be done? This politics aside, how, because the challenges are at so many levels. The short-term challenge, dealing with these people, it's raining, it could be snowing soon. The longer-term response, where do you rehabilitate them? Who builds their houses? Who funds it? How much settlement money do they get?
Actually, I have a rich experience about it, and I can assure that it is very difficult to manage the show, because these rocks are sandy rocks. And a lot of this thing weakness, the rock, there is a big ridge of these mountains belongs to this sandy rocks. So now the cracks are coming up, and these cracks are going up day by day, is making the big issues. So anyhow, but we'll have to see what best we can do. The first action is this, that we should evacuate the people from that particular place, because any of the day, if this earthquake comes 4 or 3 or 4 or 5 magnitude, so definitely everything will be collapsed. 101% it will collapse.
Because it's weak already.
Already, because the land corrosion is there and water is coming up from various sides. So it's a natural phenomena. When water used to come, then it means the crack will go deeper and deeper, and a big issue will be there. So it's the best time that people should learn. Government should take lesson, whatever the government have the measures to satisfy them, and immediately they should be shifted.
No, but the larger problem here, Dr. Sundaryal, is the fact that virtually all the key cities, not all, but most of the key towns of Uttarakhand are actually built over landslide sites. And therefore, what is happening right now in Joshimath could potentially happen in any of those towns. So, can something be done to deal? Let's take, for example, Nainital or any place, right? You've got so much building material that's already out there. To try and take those people away, or you can say that on TV, but to do it on the ground is impossible.
Yes. Actually, this is the time when we should think about the way forward. What happened and what is happening, how we can mitigate and how we can manage this crisis. This is the time when our government, our planner, policy maker, they sit together and make such policies that this entire region may sustain in future.
No, but that's about future development. What happens to all the development that's already happened, which is out there virtually, as the Swamiji said, a ticking time bomb?
Yes. I am agreed with the Swamiji that it is a ticking time bomb, and as other people who belongs to the political parties, they are telling that it was 1976, and it is fact that government, either it is BJP government or Congress, they are aware that this area is very weak. But Uttarakhand still could not make its building code. And in 2005, we are not even opting the building code of the central government of 2005. So until and unless I am telling you that we should talk about what should be the way forward. We will have to make our policy, we will have to make our rule and regulation, and beside that, we will have to implement them on ground honestly.
No, but I've heard many experts say put a bar on all future constructions. But Swami Mukundanand, हकीकत ये भी है कि जैसे बाराहोटी है, जोशीमठ से ही आप होके बाराहोटी जाते हैं, चीन के बॉर्डर पर है ये, और सामने पीपल्स लिबरेशन आर्मी ने इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर का बहुत बड़ा डेवलपमेंट किया हुआ है, और बहुत साल के बाद आखिरकार अब हम उत्तराखंड के बॉर्डर एरियाज़ में बीआरओ के ज़रिए वो सड़कें बना रहे हैं जो हमारी सेना को सीधे बॉर्डर तक लेके जाएंगी। अगर सारे कंस्ट्रक्शन, और ये इकोलॉजिकली सेंसिटिव जोन है, लेकिन अगर सारे कंस्ट्रक्शन पे हम पाबंदी लगा देते हैं तो चीन का तो वहाँ पे इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बन चुका है और भारत की नेशनल सिक्योरिटी को बहुत बड़ा खतरा भी है ये। आप म्यूट पे हैं शायद सर, आप म्यूट पे हैं
जी। कंस्ट्रक्शन पे कोई पाबंदी नहीं लगाई गई है, आपकी चिंता जायज है। ऐसा कंस्ट्रक्शन करिए जिससे हिमालय का स्वरूप बना रहे। हिमालय के स्वरूप को बनाते हुए कंस्ट्रक्शन करके आप अपनी सीमाओं की सुरक्षा के लिए जो प्रयास कर सकते हैं वो प्रयास करना चाहिए आपको। आप कांग्रेस पे ब्लेम लगाएं, आप भाजपा पे ब्लेम लगाएं, जैसे कि अभी कर रहे थे, हमने सुना आपस में नेता लोग कर रहे थे कि उस समय इनकी सरकार थी, उस समय उनकी सरकार थी। सरकार किसी की भी रही हो, समस्या भुगतने के लिए तो जोशीमठ का वासी आज उसके सामने समस्या हो रही है। सरकार चाहे किसी भी हो, आप विकास करिए, अच्छा करिए, जो भी करने की कोशिश करते हैं। प्रकृति को समाप्त करके जो विकास प्राप्त करना चाहते हैं आप, एनटीपीसी को ला करके, जो बिजली बना करके, पहाड़ के पेट के अंदर छेद करके, लंबी लंबी सुरंग बना करके जो विकास आप चाहते हैं, उस विकास के दुष्परिणाम पर भी विचार करने का समय है ये जोशीमठ तो एक उदाहरण है। इस समय एक जोशीमठ को देख करके हम ये सीख सकते हैं कि हमें विकास चाहिए, बिजली चाहिए, बहुत आवश्यक है हमारे लिए, लेकिन किस कीमत पर हमको ये विकास मिल रहा है ये ध्यान देना होगा। ये विचार करने का समय आ गया है कि हम अपने विकास के मॉडल को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए अपने प्राकृतिक संसाधन को समाप्त करने का प्रयास
zones, expanding the roadways, you are virtually asking for trouble. Yes, you must be held accountable because you virtually invited the problems.
जी
Dr. Bhasin.
जी, in fact, I would like to share with you that government has stopped all construction works in Joshimath at present. No work is going on, number one. Number two, NDMA has come to Uttarakhand and they had a meeting with our Chief Minister. Now what they have decided to have an action plan keeping in view all the reports already submitted. So before we go through that process, at present government has also ordered that we will also survey the carrying capacity of Joshimath and entire Uttarakhand. Because the problem is also due to the overburdening the entire issue, illegal construction or something else, whatever you call it. But this survey would also be very helpful in analyzing the planning part of the entire issue.
So I'm out of time on this broadcast. The challenges are many, the solutions very complex. Can you ask people to stop building more floors or new houses in these ecologically sensitive zones, houses which are being demolished? How much compensation do you give? What happens to the aspect of national security, where you need some of these new roads to take you to the border areas? You also want to build out the whole temple ecosystem, the Char Dham Yatra. We'll track what happens. Man playing with nature, never a wise idea. It's always nature that has the last laugh. The roar of RRR is now ringing through the world. Hollywood joins the Natu Natu dance party as the song wins big at the Golden Globes. Details coming up on the other side.
I've had enough of this nonsense! You two, out!
No, Jake, I've had enough of your bullying. Oh, Go!
News is about putting people first. Just look at the queues right across. About asking the right questions to those in power. It takes no sides.
माँ का दर्द एक दर्द कोई नहीं समझ सकता उस दर्द को.
It reveals. It heals.
Angry people came out on the streets.
Is this the kind of justice system we want in this country? News is all heart and no hatred.
बिल्किस बानो आज क्या कहना चाहेंगी आप?
हमारे साथ जो हुआ है किसी के साथ भी नहीं होना चाहिए.
Experience the news. With me, Rajdeep Sardesai, only on India Today.
But this one was something more than a winner, just a winner, you know. Oh yeah, come on, you don't expect this to happen.
And the Golden Globe goes to Natu Natu, RRR.
Your lack of words sometimes, your heart is filled, you're overwhelmed, and just gratefulness, and just gives us a responsibility to do better.
It was a very big challenge that I have to prove it. I have to prove it that this song should my voice should be there in the song, you know.
Ramarao and Ramcharan, who are with us, who dance with full stamina for the song. Thank you all.
The first thing was surprise. The second thing is like my heart is going to burst out with happiness.
All this hard work, all this patience, sincerity towards my work, towards my poetry that pays today.
You're on board the Newstrack. The world has joined the Natu Natu dance party. It's a historic moment for Telugu cinema and for Indian cinema as well. The 4.5-minute song has now become a global anthem. S.S. Rajamouli's blockbuster RRR scripted history today by winning the Golden Globe for the Best Original Song for Natu Natu. Here's a recap of the momentous award ceremony.
And the Golden Globe goes to Natu Natu RRR.
It's finally happened. The world approves Natu Natu. RRR scripted history. It's a moment of pride for all Indians and Indian cinema collectively. The world was dancing to the tunes of Natu Natu, and this Golden Globe's victory is the validation that all the music lovers were waiting for with folded hands and crossed fingers. The West has joined in the Natu Natu craze. Everyone's celebrating M.M. Keeravani's masterpiece that has been sung by Kala Bhairava and Rahul Sipliganj. The lyrics to this dance number has been penned by Chandra Bose. The composer received the award with utmost pride and thanked the man whose vision led to the foundation stone for Natu Natu, S.S. Rajamouli.
This award belongs to, in order of priority, my brother and the director of the movie, S.S. Rajamouli, for his vision. I thank him for his constant trust in my work and support.
Oscar-winning composer A.R. Rahman also took a moment to congratulate Team RRR as he tweeted, "Incredible paradigm shift. Congrats Keeravani Garu from all Indians and your fans. Congrats S.S. Rajamouli Garu and the whole RRR team." Chiranjeevi too showed his excitement for this epic win. He wrote, and we quote, "What a phenomenal historic achievement. Golden Globe's Best Original Song. Motion Picture Award to M.M. Keeravani Garu. Take a bow. Heartiest congratulations, Team RRR. And S.S. Rajamouli, India is proud of you. Hashtag Natu Natu." Alia Bhatt reshared the video of the winning moment on her Instagram stories along with several red hearts. Actor Shah Rukh Khan also took to social media and congratulated Team RRR on their big win. He wrote, "Sir just woke up and started dancing to Natu Natu, celebrating your win at Golden Globes. Here's to many more awards and making India so proud."
The first thing was surprise. The second thing is like, my heart is going to burst out with happiness. Those are the two reactions. We expect this kind of reaction from Indians, but we don't. This never happened for an Indian film. I think even for an American film, where the audience get out of their seats, come to the front and dance for a song. No, it never happens.
Previously, this period drama was screened across cities in the US. Be it Beyond Fest or IMAX screening, visuals of fans leaving their seats to match the steps with the leading men, Junior NTR and Ram Charan, had been doing rounds on the internet. Recently, the film was screened at the biggest Chinese theatre and fans were going gaga over Natu Natu.
I think it's such a surreal moment right now. I have no words to explain for all the hard work the whole team put it, and coming from India, in south of India, and coming to the land of films, the mecca of films, and being appreciated, and it just gives us more energy.
There are many emotions running within us, I guess, too many mixed emotions. As I mentioned earlier, LA or America as such has always been a place of holiday, or coming to meet family members who are in America. But it's for the first time where I'm sitting here talking about work, talking to journalists, interacting with people like you and all. It feels great.
And as RRR has crossed one big milestone with this Golden Globes win, a win that signifies that Indian cinema is moving in the right direction and that the era of S.S. Rajamouli has just begun. And not to forget, Natu Natu had a tough competition with Rihanna and Lady Gaga also nominated in the same category. The wave of this foot-tapping number is here to stay.
Go!
The resounding win also increases hopes for the Oscars. And now all the cine fans across the country are rooting for Natu Natu and RRR with extreme pride. Like the RRR movie official handle rightly said, India, this is the best news to wake up to. And we second that. Entertainment Bureau, India Today.
Very few would have thought that a Telugu song would beat the likes of Rihanna, Lady Gaga and Taylor Swift on their home turf. But the frenzy around Natu Natu has been so strong and mind-boggling that none of these singers stood a chance.
Natu Natu
Natu Natu won, and what an epic win it was. M.M. Kirwani's composition has ruled the West, and how.
Almost 35 versions he did for that song, Kiravankar. 35 versions.
As per the lyricist Chandra Bose, this foot-tapping number took 19 months and more than 30 takes to become the phenomena that Natu Natu is.
Almost 1 year, 7 months I sat for this song. 1 year, 7 months. 19 months I sat for this song.
He also added, he tried to keep the meaning of the song simple.
Every song I write for my mother only, because simple words. My mother should understand my poetry. That is the main motto of my song. She is uneducated. She don't know hard words, hard things, hard comparisons. She knows little. So my final motto is, she has to understand my lyrics. She has to understand without complications. She has to understand. So that's why my lyrics are very, very, very simple. Layman can understand my lyrics.
Oh, Carolina creeks running through my veins. Lost I was.
The song beat out stiff competition from popular numbers including Carolina, From the Murder Mystery, where the Crawdads sing.
Carolina knows why for years I roam.
It has been written and sung by Taylor Swift.
That is whispers, Carolina knows. And you didn't see me here. No, they never did see me here. Hold my hand, everything will be okay.
The second song competing was Hold My Hand from Tom Cruise's Top Gun Maverick. It is a love letter to the world during and after a hard time and is written by Lady Gaga. Natu Natu was also contesting with Lift Me Up from Black Panther Wakanda Forever to seize the award. The contemporary R&B and pop number was Rihanna's new single after a gap of 6 years.
Keep me in the strength of your arms. Keep me safe, safe and sound. Ciao, Papa, mio Papa.
In the top 5 was also Ciao Papa from Guillermo del Toro's animated film Pinocchio.
I go, is it far? No one knows, no one can tell.
The Italian name of the song translates to Goodbye Dad and was sung by Gregory Mann.
Away a fine piece of shine, the sounds of birds jumping with bells.
This track was used during the scene where Pinocchio convinces himself that the best thing to do is to leave home, respect the contract he signed with Count Wolf, and send the money he earns to his dad.
Farewell, my Papa. Ciao, Papa, mio Papa. Time has come to say farewell. I am ready to go, going far. Now I know it will be swell.
While these were all well-deserved nominations, Natu Natu defeated them all for this historical victory, and the day couldn't get better for Team RRR. Entertainment Bureau, India Today.
This is where I wrap up the Newstrack tonight. For your time and your trust, thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you 8 p.m. tomorrow evening. Till then, from all of us here, goodbye, good night.
I would say that we have done a lot of reforms on the direct taxes. The corporate tax have been brought down to 22%, and new manufacturing units that are set up to 24 March will only pay 15% tax. So that's a good, it's stabilized. Maybe some reforms are needed on the personal income tax also, because the tax rates go up from 5% to 30%, and then there are a number of surcharges there, and a lot of exemptions are there. So maybe we need to tinker with some of these provisions. It may give relief to some people and may not give relief to some other people. But yes, there is a need to simplify the tax rates. There is a need to simplify the process of the personal income tax. Now, if they say a relief, I don't know what exactly CII means in terms of relief, because if you look at tax to GDP ratio for our country, we are still very low, and there's a need to have more taxes. But yes, I agree to this front, and I am of a strong view that our taxes should not come from increasing the tax rates, but from expanding the tax base. So our effort should be there. So all these efforts and capital gains tax also, we need to do something on that. If we do all that, I think it will give relief to some people and also ensure simplification of tax rates.
You're watching an India Today special broadcast being brought to you from the stunning ski resort of Clusters, Davos.
The 53rd World Economic Forum is back at the snow-clad slopes of Davos. The smartest minds gather to debate the world's biggest challenges: energy crisis, industry headwinds, geopolitical risks, social vulnerabilities. India Today and Business Today are at ground zero to bring you all the action. Catch top corporate tycoons, politicians and intellectuals as they discuss cooperation in a fragmented world. Watch the Davos brainstorm only on India Today and Business Today TV.
Traveling from different parts.
Armed with facts,
Looking at political back.
she takes the news by its horns.
Do you think the future of these students are not hampered?
Fierce, bold and direct, setting the tone for the biggest stories from every corner and every angle. Expect nothing but the unfiltered truth.
News first, niceties later. Watch me, Nabila Jamal, on India Today.
It's 2023, and India remains the sole shining star in the global economy. So what lies ahead as the Modi government prepares its last full budget before the 2024 general elections? Join the biggest names in business journalism, decoding the jargon with the biggest newsmakers. From the most credible, in-depth analysis of Budget 2023, turn into Modinomics 2023 through the month. Only on India Today and Business Today Television, gold standard of business journalism.
Co-presented by Star Health Insurance, the health insurance specialist. Co-powered by Green Lamb Laminates, Kuch Mera, Kuch Tumhara. Co-powered by the bold look of Cola. Co-powered by Samsonite, tested like Samsonite. Indian Oil, Pehle Indian, Phir Oil.
Good evening, hello and welcome. You're with the news today, your primetime destination Wednesday night, on a night when an Indian film, a Telugu film, has created a slice of history. Indian cinema shining on the global stage. We'll have more on that in a moment. Also, Mohan Bhagwat is stirring a controversy. The RSS Sarsang Chalak seems to be drawing his own Lakshman Rekha for Indian Muslims. That too will be our talking point. But first, as always, it's time for the 9 headlines at 9 tonight. RRR creates a slice of history at the Golden Globes Awards 2023. Rajamouli and team win Best Original Song Award for Natu Natu. Filmmaker thanks composer Kiravani for the song. RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat strokes a fresh controversy. He says Muslims should give up their notion of supremacy. They ruled India for 1,000 years. Owaisi asks who is Bhagwat to grant permission to Muslims on how to live in India. Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Dhami meets angry residents opposing the demolition of a sinking Joshimath. 1.5 lakh immediate but not final compensation announced for affected families. A day after a killer metro pillar killed 2 in Bengaluru, 3 engineers including a deputy chief engineer and an executive engineer are suspended. Buxar farmer protest over land acquisition turns violent. Police van set on fire after alleged cop brutality against protesters who claim they were attacked in their sleep. Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge invites 21 opposition parties including TMC, TDP, DMK, NC for the final leg of the Bharat Jodo Yatra that's set to conclude in J&K at the end of the month. No relief for Shankar Mishra, the man who urinated on a core flyer on an Air India flight, denied bail by Patiala House Court in Delhi. Another urinating passenger at an airport is picked up by the Delhi police and then granted bail. Operations resumed gradually in America after all flights across the nation were grounded due to a glitch with the Federal Aviation Administration's computer system. And Prithvi Shaw makes the second highest Ranji Trophy score of all time, scores 379 to miss out on a quadruple 100. But let's break away from politics tonight at the very top to celebrate, because today is a day when Indian cinema has much to celebrate. RRR, the blockbuster Telugu